Hello, it's Aston, back with another macroeconomic video. Today we're doing the circular flow of income, baby. This is a key macroeconomic topic and I will explain why. But first, what is it? So the circular flow of income model, it shows you how income flows throughout the economy. Now this economy is a closed economy. You might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, okay, a closed economy means there's no outside trade. Essentially, there's no imports, there's no exports, which means that the money stays within the economy. So the difference between this and Keynesian is that in Keynesian we assume there's multipliers, and we assume that yes, while there is more income, it's going to start multiplying and generating more and more and more, right? That's how GDP can grow. But in this model, we assume that GDP is fixed. So here's what happens. Essentially, you have households that own all the factors of production: land, labor, capital, enterprise, while firms are the people that produce the goods. So here's what happens. The households give firms these factor inputs: land, labor, capital, and firms give the households the goods and services back. That's called the real flow. Now, how does the money flow? Okay, so first of all, households, right, will spend money on those goods and services to the firm, and that the firm get the money, and that means that the firm will give the income back to the households. Income? What kind of income? So different factors of production require different income or get different kinds of income. Land gets rent, labor gets wage, capital gets interest, while enterprise, profit, baby. So now, as you can see, the income, expenditure, and all this is stuck within the economy, and it kind of turns, it flows. The real flow and the money flow, they both are very important to this economy. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what does this mean? Recall from the last video the 3 ways of calculating GDP: final value of goods and services, total income or total expenditure within the economy. What is this showing? Well, income. Income must be equal to expenditure, and it must be equal to the value of the goods and services, which is why we can calculate GDP in 3 ways. This is the model that explains why we calculate GDP in 3 different ways. This is the model that explains, well, everything. So this is why it's a key macroeconomic model right here. So with this model, we can now say that GDP is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending. Well, actually not from this model, but hey, I don't know where it's from actually. So you might be wondering, if you take economics, where's the NX? Where's the X minus M? Well, like I said, closed economy, no outside trade, net exports is 0. So this is why it's like this. And lastly, we have a little bit of a, as you can see, production function. So we got Y is equal to function of K and L. K means capital because, Mortal Kombat. L means labor. So yeah, essentially what happens is your GDP is kind of fixed between your state of technology and how well the economy can utilize its capital and its labor. That's what fixes your GDP. Next video, we're going to go more into detail about fixing GDP and essentially what this model is all about. So Keynesian understands that wages are sticky, prices are sticky, and it's hard to adjust in the short term or in the short run. And there's a multiplier effect, and GDP can grow and also can fall quite drastically depending on the market conditions. But in this model, we assume that GDP is fixed. And then we'll see how does an increase in consumption, investment, fiscal policies, how do they impact the economy? So that's next video.